And friends, Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here and let's wake up the football gods. Wake up here, guys. It's been a rough Monday. This is one of the worst hangover Mondays that I can ever remember. And as Scooter Magruder said, this is about the worst I've felt with the victory ever before, because you do feel bad. Your hearts go out for Dak Prescott. You know, it's just bad. And I don't care if it were Carson Wentz. I would hate to see him carted off in that way. It's just bad. The things that players do to stay on the field is unbelievable. Things that we don't see, that we don't have a clue with. The pain and agony, the suffering, the work to come back from injuries. It's just unhuman. And as hard as it's been watching that injury, you'll see Dak Prescott, the warrior that he is, literally try and pop his foot back into place on the field, not realizing how bad it is. But the warrior in him knowing that I still got a breath, I still got to go on. So what we're hearing is recovery 4 to 6 months. I text back and forth with Philip, giving my condolences and everything on the situation and stuff, and checking in on him. And he said, that Dak is doing okay, that the operation was a success, and that everything's good. In fact, Mike McCarthy talked to Dak Prescott today, who's back home and stuff, and Dak is already chomping at the bit to get back out there and get to work. So you can best believe that he's going to be on a mission. So the first thing, we've had people who said that this could be career ending. Okay, now let's be clear. This is compound fracture and dislocation. It's ligament damage, it's broken bones and things like that. This is not a career ender. This is painful, but it's putting the bones back together, mainly bones healing. To give you an example, and let me say that this video is one of those ones that make you squeamish, okay? So let me forewarn you now. But you have to understand, we saw Joe Theismann literally have his leg broken, that literally took, like a quarter inch of his leg out. There was no coming back from that one. But we saw Alex Smith end up having what's known as a spiral fracture, which is not a clean break. It literally tore up, which wouldn't have been so bad had he not gotten an infection, which is the reason why it took so long for it to heal. But here it is, 2 years later, he's back to playing football. Now, for Dak Prescott, we're right here in the middle of October. So, middle of November, middle of December, middle of January, middle of February, middle of March, by the middle of April, he should be completely healed, if not sooner. But let me go back to where we were with Allen Hurns. Allen Hurns, playoffs. We're talking about playoffs with Allen Hurns against the Seattle Seahawks. And like I said, this is one of those plays that might make you squeamish.
Prescott, Hurns for the first down. Allen Hurns.
And you see the
made
leg.
the grab, and now Hurns is hurt. Hurns, who has been seldom used since the arrival of Amari Cooper, in some pain. He got a first down, but at what price? Oh, good Lord. Back after this.
Okay, so I don't want, no, stop. Okay, I don't want any more. All right, so the NFL police will probably get me for showing that clip. But keep in mind, that happened in January. We all saw that and was like, oh my God. The incredible thing about what you saw with Dak and you saw with Allen Hurns, to me, was that both guys held on to the football. I do not know how the hell you hold on to the football. So you first got to give both of those guys incredible props for just even holding on to the football with something traumatic like that going on. Here's the thing. Alan Hearns, that injury in January, he made it to OTAs. He got cut by the Cowboys. He ended up catching more yards the next year for the Miami Dolphins. He had 295 yards for the Cowboys. He had 416, had 32 catches for the Miami Dolphins. And keep in mind that wide receiver is a position that you're going to have to put more stress on that. You've got to plant, turn, cut, everything else on every single play. We're talking about a quarterback. So for Dak, coming back from this is not the issue. In fact, the question will be is what happens because he's on a franchise tag. Now, it's my assumption that he'll be on a franchise tag, but let's listen a little bit to Stephen Jones, who was on the radio today.
Well, it's a bittersweet, obviously. The win was huge for us, but at the same time, to lose our leader, our captain, he's just he's our heartbeat. To lose him just really just kills you in terms of deep down. And for him, you hurt for everything that he stands for, and it's just I think we're still in shock. But certainly, Dak's such a warrior, and he's been through a lot. And he's always overcome it, and this is going to be no exception. He'll get in here and do what he needs to do. I'm sure. Obviously, everybody's prayers are with him. But, he should be able to do what he needs to do to rehab and come back ready to go. And although it's just a very difficult setback for him and for us, it's something that we feel great about him totally overcoming and be ready to go next year.
Can you tell us anything about those moments that were shared up there in the box? We saw everyone in the family getting emotional. Can you tell us about any of those interactions, or more specifically about any of the emotions that you had immediately in that moment?
Well, it's just goes without saying, immediately it was a very, very gruesome and significant injury. And so you can imagine, your feelings. I think so much of that, not the player, but the person, and knew what must be going through his mind. He's such a competitor and loves his games and loves his teams. And, just wild ranges of emotion. And I went down to see him in the locker room immediately, right after it happened.
He's got a terrible connection.
He's special. It's special.
Steven, have you talked with him personally since the injury last night?
Yes, I talked to him last night after the injury.
And that conversation with him, what was that conversation like?
It's just, it's obviously how much our prayers are with him, how much we believe in him, how much we're going to miss him, but at the same time, know that he's going to come back better, stronger, better than ever. So, he's our face of our franchise, and to have him and know that he'll overcome this. He's a driven, special man.
And Stephen, the Cowboys' stance, and you made it pretty clear already this morning, the stance has been that the plan was for Dak to be the Cowboys' quarterback for the long haul, and that was Dak's message too. After yesterday, did that change, and do you see that changing in the future?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He's our future. Special. Anyone can overcome anything and beat Dak. This is something that our doctors feel good that he'll overcome and come back better than ever.
Stephen, when it comes to that, I was asking on social media for kind of doctors to give us an idea. Is this a 4 to 6 month injury? What's the
Okay, well, Stephen doesn't say, that was kind of earlier in the prognosis and stuff. Okay, so here's the thing. come March 15th, I believe, I could be wrong, it may be a little bit different, it's not quite announced, but somewhere in the middle of March, you have the beginning of free agency. And sometime in February, you have to decide who is going to be on a franchise tag. So if we're looking at a 4 to 6 month window on the recovery, again, we're in the middle of October, middle of February, you won't know for sure or be able to really test that leg until you start doing OTAs in March. So for the Cowboys, you have to look at this and say, if we don't get him a long-term deal before that end of February window, he's a free agent. Or we franchise tag him again, hold that position, and that gives us until July 15th to get a long-term deal, or he plays out on the franchise tag. And that gives the Cowboys, as bad as this whole situation is, because you look at it, you've had people, I think Ed Werder was saying that, this is really Dak's fault because he should have taken the deal that was on the table, and, you roll the dice and you lose, whatever. They tried to get it done in the last hour, but just did not get it done. For whatever reason, the numbers never came across and stuff. I get it. That's water under the bridge. It's now we can't change any of that. But for the Cowboys' position, it's really the only way that you do it. There's no guarantee. Even though this is an injury that you have a good prognosis for, there's no guarantee that you're going to come back. You could have a situation like Alex Smith's that there's an infection, because make no bones about it, this is a compound fracture that the bones broke through the skin. You don't know what you picked up off the field. And having gone through a flesh-eating bacteria and having seen what happened with Alex Smith, which is multiple operations where he almost lost his leg, there's no guarantee. And believe me, I think Dak's going to be cool because Dak is a warrior. However, talk is cheap and reality is a mother. So for the Cowboys, they'll put the franchise tag on him. They will put the tag on him before they get a long-term deal. That's not to say that they won't do a long-term deal before that July 15th deal. Or let's also put the other part out there. If Andy Dalton comes through and wows them, it's conceivable they say, you know what? We'll roll the dice with Andy Dalton for a few years and see where we go. Andy Dalton is still a relatively young quarterback when you look at Tom Brady at, 42? Drew Brees at 41? And if you're saying that we need the cap relief because the salary cap dropped to 175 and you have a lot of contracts that are overpaid, you kind of say, well, maybe we want to keep Aldon Smith. Maybe we want to try and make some bigger moves in free agency to really get some cornerbacks or players that are impactful. Or maybe we want to cut some weight and we're going to have a lot of dead money and we need to be able to take care of that. In the end, we all want football to be personal and have a heart. That we want to look and say, Dak Prescott for 4+ years has literally given everything to the Dallas Cowboys and been a constant professional who has given everything, who's the heart and soul of the team. The reality is the Cowboys are making decisions with their brain, with dollar signs involved. It's going to be a long process getting this back together, and we won't know anything anytime soon. But that's why I believe that the franchise tag is what's going to be coming for Dak Prescott after the season. We'll be talking about this some more tonight. We'll have a special guest of my man Skywalker Steele, of course, E2 Blue will be in the house, and we have not one but two Monday night games starting at 7 o'clock. So be here at 9 o'clock so that way we can try and digest all this stuff. The Dallas Cowboys are in first place in the NFC East. As crazy as that is, the Dallas Cowboys are in first place in the NFC East. Wow. Wow. You kind of lose sight of that when you lose your quarterback. I'm Mark Holmes, and I'll see you later.